Welcome aboard Just Jets with your captain, Matt O'Leary. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to Just Jets episode number 137. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary, going to be hanging out with you. I want to talk about divisional games. It's time. The Jets have their first divisional game of the season after going 2-2 against the gauntlet that was the AFC North. Remember that? Oh, it's a gauntlet. You can't possibly go anything like, 2-2 or anything better than that. Your season's going to be over. Remember that, Brady Quinn? Anyway, we're going to get into some divisional games. We're going to get into your voicemails, some stock up, stock down. But before all of that, come on, guys. You should know this by now. It's time for fresh ball fall. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. Ooh, a nice rhyme. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. I love this. That's right. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding its excess leaves. Hey now. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter for fall. Join these 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with my code JETS20. That is JETS20. Get yourself something nice over there. All right, let's hop into the episode today. I want to talk about winning divisional games. It's going to be a little bit of a rant. And look, I'm happy. If you haven't seen the videos during the week, I've been happy with the New York Jets at 2-2. I was happy with the effort from Zach Wilson, as most fans were happy, and we're rocking the new Garrett Wilson jersey, baby. Let's go. This came in the mail. I'm going to rock this on Sunday, too, but I was too excited not to put it on for the show this week, so we're going to wear it twice. We're not going to wash it. It's fine. You don't have to judge me for that. But all right, divisional games. This is what I really wanted. This is what I wanted to start in the opening segment because of how important it is. The Jets haven't been good in the division for a very, 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 very long time. An eternity, really. It's very rare that they ever have a winning record in the division, even in times where they've had good seasons. Their division record has held them back. I think the last time they had a winning record in the division was 2010. 2015, they went 3-3 in the division because they got swept by Buffalo and split with New England. Gross. I'm still salty about that 7 years later. But in 2010, they went 4-2 in the division. They split with Miami. They lost a brutal game in December, a game they probably should have won. They should have went 5-1 in the division. They lost to New England on, what was that, a Monday night game? 42-3, some gross score. It was disgusting. But since then, it's been 3-3 or worse. But specifically over the last 2 years, 0-12. They have not won a divisional game since week 17 against the Buffalo Bills. Best part, the Bills already clinched a playoff spot, so they won against Matt Barkley. That's it, Matt Barkley. That was the last time the New York Jets won a game against a divisional opponent. That's embarrassing. That has to change now. That can't be. You want to be taken seriously. You're 2-2, hanging around. Do you want to have a little bit of a chance here? Win a game against a backup quarterback. Miami's good. They're a good team. They are going to be without their starting quarterback. That is an opportunity to win. It flat out is. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's too harsh or too optimistic, I guess. Maybe that's probably the better way of wording it. Maybe it's too optimistic of a look. I'm not giving enough credit to the Miami Dolphins, even with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. But that's the thing, man. If Zach Wilson is what we think he can be, and if he looks like he did in the fourth quarter last week, there's no reason that this Jets offense can't score enough to beat a team like the Miami Dolphins with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. It's as simple as that. They're going to be without their starting quarterback. They scored 9 points with Teddy Bridgewater in that game. 9. The drives in which Teddy was there, had a touchdown, punt, field goal, punt, pick, turnover on downs. That's what it was on Thursday Night Football when he came into that game. Touchdown, punt, field goal, punt, pick, turnover on downs. Say that 10 times fast. You have to, if you want to be taken serious, that's the next step, right? And we saw in, what was that, one Jets drive? No, Flight 2022. Thank you. Flight 2022. Robert Saleh gave that big speech about that 12-game losing streak against divisional opponents. If you want to change the culture, and if you want to change how teams are going to look at you, you have to win your divisional games. It's not asking a lot to say, hey, split with Miami, split with New England. Buffalo's tough. Buffalo's extremely tough. I mean, obviously, Miami beat them. It's possible to beat a team like the Buffalo Bills, but it ain't going to be easy. I really don't think it's asking too much to say, hey, I think it's time the Jets are competitive within their own division. Because that's what really matters, right? At the end of the day, you're playing those teams, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Patriots, playing them each twice a year. That's 6 games you already know locked into your 17-game season that you know. And if you could at least be competitive in your division, it's really not asking a lot. You can't, year after year, get swept in your division and expect to make any kind of incremental progress. They won 2 games in 2020, and they won 4 games in 2021. That's not news to anyone. You guys follow the Jets. You know their records, and you know how long it's been. But the point of bringing this conversation up now is that it's the first time the Jets are playing a divisional opponent in 2022, and it's a winnable game. Robert Saleh talks about coming in and changing the culture, and you could see it at times. I don't think he's been perfect. I'm not saying that, he needs to be fired or anything like that. We've seen a lot of those conversations where it's Robert Saleh's got to go, clean house, start over again. Very reactionary, but you want to talk about this team being different. You want to talk about it not being the same old Jets. You want to talk about keeping the receipts. Keep this receipt. It's time to start winning football games in your division. That's it. That's my message to this team. That's my message to Robert Saleh. And once again, I feel like a broken record. It's really not asking all that much. They should be competitive in this game. The spread is 3.5 points. So it's not like it's, your double-digit point underdogs at home in a divisional game. That's not the case here. It should be much more competitive. The defense looked better this past week. They created 4 turnovers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And sure, Mitch Trubisky stinking up the joint, Kenny Pickett throwing balls up for grabs. That certainly helped things. But we did videos earlier this week about DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner. They've been playing out of their minds. Quinnen Williams probably been, you can make the case for AVT, Sauce, or DJ Reed, but also, Quinnen Williams has been dominant. If that defensive line looks the way that it did this past week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got a shot. I know Tyreek Hill is scary. I know Jalen Waddle is scary. Mike Gesicki's a matchup nightmare, but that doesn't mean that you could just you lay down and fold. This is a winnable game. You want to prove that you're different, go out and pull off another upset win. So far, you've had 2 road games and 2 road wins. Doesn't make any sense. The Jets have stunk on the road forever and been okay at home. Now that they've stunk at home, they need a better effort in their home building in front of the fans. And Zach's first game back, emotions are going to be high. Fans are going to be into it. I'm pumped. Love it. Love that. The biggest thing is to make sure that you're giving the fans a product that's watchable. They've scored 1 touchdown at home so far this year in 2 games. 1. And it came in the final minute of a game where they were down big. It's time. It's absolutely time. Before we get into the voicemails, I wanted to talk to you guys about Mojo, the stock exchange for trading players. And my two players that I am looking at this week, we've talked a ton about Zach Wilson, but we're going to do it again. It's completely reasonable to continue to bring up his name. He is up 4.34% this week, trading at 34.08 after his comeback win. And how could you not be impressed with that comeback performance in the fourth quarter? Sure, there was some sloppiness and a little bit of ugliness through the first three quarters, but he came alive. 10 of 12 in the fourth quarter. Was it 140 plus yards and a touchdown? That was big. And someone else, we did a video on him on the Jet Report. If you don't know what the Jet Report is, you should. We're doing live streams every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 2 p.m. Hanging out. We have a topic of the day. We go through questions, a little Q&A. It's available in podcast form, in just strictly audio. If you prefer that, it's available shortly after it goes live on the YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe to the Jet Report on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your feed. But we talked about Corey Davis and how some fans, myself included at times, pick on Corey Davis, but he's actually on pace for a pretty big year, and his stock is up 2.71% this week. Corey Davis came up clutch for the Jets this past week, and the penalty in week 3 was beyond frustrating. Gave him hell for it, and I think deservedly so. Some frustrating drops along the way, but when his team needed him most and when his young quarterback needed him most, he stepped up big. So I give him a ton of credit for that, a ton of appreciation for that. And his stock is on the rise too. So if you want to invest, check out Mojo. They're live right now in New Jersey. And I am very jealous that I am not a New Jersey resident because I want in on this. So much fun. We're going to go to the voicemails now. Let's get into it. All right, first up, we're going to go out to Ben in New Jersey. He wants to get into why you should be excited about the 2-2 Jets and Zach Wilson. All right, dude, let's get into it.
What's up, Matt? It's Ben from Jersey. Tuning in right after the Jets game. Oh my goodness, we're 2-2.
They're allowed to be 2-2.
I'm going to this Jets Dolphins game next week. I better see you and the boys there. It's going to be a good time. Let's see if we can tie the Dolphins in the division. But before, I just want to give my takes on this game. Zach Wilson, his stat line wasn't the best. He completed just over 50% of his passes, and he had 2 picks, one being completely Tyler Conkling's fault. But the one defining thing that I got from this game, those last 2 drives showed that Zach is going to be a franchise quarterback.
Ooh.
The poise he showed in the clutch moments that were marred by penalties on 3rd and 4th and longs with touchdowns to Corey Davis and driving the team down the field, leading to the game-winning Breece Hall touchdown. That was the best thing to see. I honestly think this might have been Zach's best game of his young career. All my friends texting me, "Oh, Joe Flacco makes the Jets better." They can suck it. Because Zach Wilson put that team on his back, and he led them to that 10-point comeback. And now the Jets are 2-2 because of it. Shout out to Corey Davis, especially at the end. He made some great plays. Breece Hall was a beast the whole game. The defense, Michael Carter the second with the tip pick, but don't discredit Sauce Gardner because he's the one that forced that incompletion. Mm-hmm. And the D line looked very good the whole game. One thing I'm scared about, Connor McDermott's awful. The O-line needs help more. Mike Remmers needs to start soon. But that's all I have. I'm just going to enjoy this win, and we're going back into MetLife 2-2. So let's get it. Let me know your thoughts, and as always, go Jets.
Yeah, the thing from this call that really stands out, and thank you for checking in with us here on the show, Ben. The thing that really sticks out to me is you saying that it was Zach Wilson's best game. And while statistically probably not, just looking at the box score, and obviously I think the Tennessee and Tampa Bay one is going to stick out. One of them a win. The Tampa Bay one's a game that they lost, obviously. What my biggest takeaway from this game, no matter any issues before that, was what we saw in the final 2 drives. That's a huge deal. Being a young quarterback and being able to lead your team back, make big time throws. And it's not like they came back and they were just running the ball with Breece Hall, who was good this past week. Loved Breece Hall. But it was Zach making big-time throw after big-time throw on third down, on fourth down. Corey Davis, big catch on fourth down. Corey Davis, touchdown catch. But that throw to Garrett Wilson on third down to keep the drive going. There were big plays and big-time throws. He's close. He's very close. He's not quite there yet where you're saying, that's it. That's it. He's the guy. But there are absolutely still things that you can get excited about on, a week in and week out basis. And I can't wait to see the next 13 games. There may be some bumps in the road, but I mean, last year it was a struggle for Zach Wilson to get like 180 yards at times. In a uglier game, he threw for 250 yards, had a YPA over 7. There's a lot to like there. And you're right, the second pick, I don't care what you say, what anyone says, that's on Conklin. Was it a little high? Yeah. But catch the ball and pull it in, man. How many drops and fumbles is this guy going to have? Catch the ball. Goodness. Max from New Jersey's next.
Hi, this is Max from Homeland, New Jersey, and here's the game recap. So, for defense, we played really good in the first half, but we didn't play that great in the second half. And then on offense, we played very inconsistent today. We played really good in the first half and first quarter and fourth quarter, but we played horrible in the second and third quarter on offense. I just think the Jets need to be more consistent this year on offense and defense. There's one game that our offense is really good, and then the next game it just disappears. They need to focus on consistency. I feel that the Jets are just way too inconsistent. Even though it's a great win, I feel that the Jets need to be more consistent. Here's my pick, and let's go Jets. Hope we win next week.
Yeah, consistency is an issue. And, I mean, that's part of the reason why I think that they're not quite there yet is because the lack of consistency. I think some weeks they'll look good and they'll have a great game, and then other times there'll be a clunker mixed in. And hopefully it's not as bad of a clunker as what we saw in week 1 and week 3. But I think that's a fair critique of the Jets so far, is that there's been some consistency issues for this team. And if they do become more consistent and the effort's a lot better on a week in, week out basis, then you're good. And especially if the quarterback is consistent, that's going to mean a lot, because Joe Flacco wasn't consistent through the first 3 games, or the 3 games that he played. But if Zach can be consistent, that's good for this team in both the short term for this year, obviously, and then the long term. Good call, Max. Let's do Will calling in from Dallas. He's pumped up about the win, wants to talk about Zach being the guy, and wants to see more 2-back sets. I like this.
Hey, Matt. Will calling from Dallas.
What's up, dude?
To quote someone you may know, a win is a win, bitches. It was an ugly win, but a win's a win. A couple things I wanted to talk about. Zach is that dude. I don't care what anyone says. 250 yards, 2 picks doesn't look great on the stat sheet. But with that offensive line on our 9th string tackle, and one of the picks not even being his fault, I think he played great. He was really impressive, especially on that last drive. Second thing I want to talk about, LaFleur needs to run more 2 running back sets, because it just gave us such a boost with Carter and Breece in the backfield. Carter lead ball, both of those little sweeps that they had to Breece, but there's so many different things you could do out of that. And when you have 2 really good receiving backs, it makes it really hard on the linebackers, especially, you have them go out into the flats, you bring something over the middle, especially in man, that puts a lot of strain on them. And third, I don't know about any other Jet fans, maybe y'all feel differently. I have such disdain for Tyler Conklin. I feel like every single week, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a week, he just makes a play that you're like, what are you doing? the pick, whether you think it was Zach's fault or Conklin's fault, it doesn't matter. Hit him in the hands. He has to catch that. He drops, missed assignments. I have been so unimpressed with Tyler Conklin. It's crazy. I don't want to see him on the field as much as he is. I want to see more Uzoma. Ruckert, I know, is a project, but maybe we start getting him a few more reps. And yeah, that's really all I got. Let me know how you feel. The game is a win, so I'm excited about the win, and we got the Dolphins next week, and I think that's a winnable game without Tua. But yeah, let me know what you think, and as always, go Jets.
Yeah, man, I absolutely want, and thank you for the call. I want to see more of CJ Uzoma because he's getting paid a lot of money to be used as pretty much exclusively a blocker. He has 1 catch for 5 yards on the year, 1. And I like Tyler Conklin. I'm not disdain that's a strong word. You very down right now on our guy Conklin. I think he's a good player who has a couple of frustrating moments, or has had some frustrating moments so far this year, which is tough. Again, like, this is a guy who let the drops, the fumbles, that play on the interception. It's tough, but he's also, I think he's a talented dude. He's put up some numbers too. I mean, some of it's been in garbage time, but he had 3 catches for 52 yards in the game. He also had a big catch on 3rd down. I don't want to, completely write him off and take him out, but I think they should use both of those guys and mix in Jeremy Ruckert. I think the guy can play. And I like their 2 back sets. They did that a few times with both Breece and Michael Carter out there. I like that. I agree. That was something that I was calling for back in 2019 when I first started this channel. I was like, give me Bilal Powell and Ty Montgomery on the field at the same time. Why not? But I think LaFleur should continue to mix that in. And a win is a win, bitches, is one of my favorite ones. I'm glad that one was remembered. That is absolutely one of my more favorite ones that we've had so far. All right, let's go out to friend of the show, Travis from Ohio, who was at the game.
Hey, Matt. It's Travis from Ohio. Hey, buddy. I was actually at the game.
No way.
It was awesome. First half, we're up 10-3. And, on the first drive, and even before the game started, there was Kenny chance, right? And we blew up Mitch Trubisky the first half. I was loving it. Then the second half hits, and Kenny Payne comes in. And he threw the one, he was leading them on the drive, and then he threw that bad interception. And I was like, all right, that's cool. But then we come back and we have that other turnover down there, and
frustrating.
It was a 4-yard drive, and he ended up punching it in. Then he ended up punching another one in. So I was the only person in the entire stadium that tried to start a Mitch chant.
How'd that go?
It didn't go over at all.
No.
I was the only one doing it. Even the 2 Jets guys, fans behind me, they didn't. By the way, Jets Nation really showed out. This is the 5th time I've ever seen the Steelers and Jets play in Pittsburgh. There are more Jets fans there this time, and this is one of the worst teams that I've ever seen them with in Pittsburgh. And everybody showed up, and they were doing Jets chants after the game. And when we got down there towards the end of the game, I totally saw us pissing it away like we always do. And we all couldn't believe it when they reviewed the Breece Hall's fumble at the end and declared it a touchdown instead. We couldn't believe it. And then that was only with 16 seconds left. Pittsburgh had 1 timeout left. It was just awesome. We couldn't stop Freiermuth or George Pickens. They are beasts. But the rest of the team sucked. their O-line is going through a transition just like ours did a couple years ago when they all got old at the same time, just like when Mangold and Ferguson got old at the same time. They're doing the Steelers have the same problem right now. So anyway, Elijah Moore looked really good in person today. Conklin, other than that tipped interception that he should have caught, he had some nice plays. Zach was running for his life. I was surprised to see Vera Tucker at left tackle, and then cringed when Mitchell got hurt and Conklin or McDermott came in. He sucks, especially in person. Oh my God. Anyway, love you, buddy. Great game. Go Jets.
Love it. Thank you, Travis, for checking in. That's the absolute best. I love it. I've never been to a road Jets game, and being able to be on the road and being able to talk your smack is things that you love. Honestly, you really do. These are big things. And you're right. You bring up a lot of good points, Travis. I'm glad you had a good time. And we're gonna go out to John calling on next from Tennessee. Zach trending in the right direction, but the coaching staff still needs to improve. That's fair. Let's do it.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for the content as always. This is John out of Tennessee. Well, calling after a Jets win, so that's always a better day.
Love that.
I was mainly calling because I wanted to talk a little bit about Zach Wilson for the day. I think that it wasn't perfect by any means, which I think is actually what you should expect of someone coming off their first game of the season, coming off injury. You know, he had his absolutely brutal moments in there, but also some of it was caused by the O-line not protecting well for him. Some of it was caused by players, you know, having balls hit their hands and not freaking bringing it in. But overall, the team looked good in a lot of ways. And the biggest thing that I took away from it is there was a lot of people saying back after the Cleveland Browns game that Zach Wilson isn't ready to do what Joe Flacco did at the end of that game. He couldn't lead us on 2 drives in short time like that. And while obviously it was a little bit of a different situation, we didn't need the onside kick or whatever, he needed to drive us down twice, and he needed to get a touchdown, and he did it both times.
Yep.
He controlled the clock well. He was, you know, throwing dimes in there. When the game was on the line, he shined his brightest. And I don't know if he's 100% the guy, but definitely those are the signs that you want to see this year to say that he will be. Still not 100% sure on this coaching staff. Still have major problems along the offensive line. Really sad to see Max Mitchell go down. He's been someone I've been really happy with this rookie class. I mean, God, this rookie class has been amazing. The only guy that's even been a slight disappointment, you could say, is Rucker, but he just hasn't been given the opportunity like the other guys. Every other player showing up. Loving Jermaine Johnson this week. Happy to see Elijah Moore make a bit of a comeback. Corey Davis still having his stupid penalties, but also making some big plays again. Really happy with this win, and really happy to see what you've got to say about it. All right. Thanks as always. Go Jets.
Yeah, again, fair. Really fair. That's my takeaway too, is while the jury is definitely still out, you have to take that as a positive, because you're right. That's such a great call by you too, because you bring up that there were people who are like, I don't know if Zach's ready for that moment yet. I don't know if he can do it. Well, he showed you. He gave you tangible evidence. You really can't ask for too much more than that. And Max Mitchell getting hurt stinks. I really, someone brought it up earlier. I think it might have been Ben at the top. Sorry, or Will. I forget who it was, but talked about starting Remmers because they don't want to see Connor McDermott. Sign me up. I completely concur. Man's a walking penalty. He's a walking pressure waiting to happen, and I think that's the move. I really do. I think that's the move. We're gonna go to. Thank you, John, for calling in. Also, we're gonna go out to Josh calling in, and he is calling from Idaho. Wants to talk about Zach Wilson's first game back.
Hey, this is Josh from Idaho, and I just want to talk about Zach Wilson for a little bit. So everyone's saying, like, oh, he didn't have the best game. Like, yeah, he was 50% completion, which is not that good. 2 picks. One of them wasn't his fault. But if you actually look around the NFL this week, he actually had more passing yards than, like, 20 other quarterbacks. which is actually pretty shocking. And like Josh Allen had a bad game. I think he was 50%. Trevor Lawrence was 50%. Like obviously Justin Fields was awful. Like compared to like what other quarterbacks did this week, Zach Wilson was actually one of the better ones in my opinion. Like I might be biased, but just looking at all the other quarterbacks, they don't look that good. I mean, Justin Herbert had a good game. Still got to wait for the Tampa Bay Chiefs game to see how they play. But the quarterback play just all around the NFL was not good, but Zach actually did decent in my eyes. But I just want to see what you think about that. As always, go Jets, man.
That's fair. And look, it could always be a lot worse. I mean, we saw multiple interception games where he was throwing for well under 250 yards. To put, I'm glad you brought that context up because every week, you know what? It's not going to be 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's unrealistic. It's the NFL. There's going to be some bumps in the road, and it's all about how he's going to be able to bounce back. There'll be some games where it's 50% completion, but you know what? I hope it evens out, and I hope there's games where it's up over 70. And then, if he's hanging around, let's call it 62% by year's end. That's a pretty vast improvement. But like last year, you want to talk about, and like this could potentially be a bad Zach game because there was the 2 picks, but he threw for over 250 yards twice last year. Week 1 against Carolina was 20 of 37 for 258, 2 touchdowns a pick. And against Tennessee was 21 of 34, 297, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And the Tampa Bay game was a good one, 19 of 33, 57.58%, 234 yards, a touchdown, 89.7 rating, 7 yards per attempt. And that was another thing. His yards per attempt was up over 7. So there are things that you could absolutely talk about, and those things being positives. Before we continue with the voicemails, I wanted to let you know this episode is also sponsored by BUSR, the official sports book of Matt O'Leary, NY, BUSR.com/Matt to sign up. Also want to announce later in the week, I will have on Friday morning, I will have Jake Asman on for a special Gingers on the Jets edition of our coverage, and that will also be brought to you by BUSR. So I want to thank them for supporting both myself and Jake Asman. More awesome content coming at you soon, and that's the place where you want to put in your bets on the New York Jets. Richard, Nevada, he's up next. He wants to talk about why he's happy the Jets are 2-2. You should be. Let's go, baby.
Okay, we're going to try this again. How's it going, everyone? It's Richard from Nevada. This game is a prime example as to why the quarterback situation should already have been long shut up about at this point. I'm just going to say it that way. 2 reasons. One, your boy Zach Wilson. He does exactly what he does best, and that's be extremely mobile. He can get away from defenders. He can make plays with his own legs. He can make them with his arms, and he did just that. You would not have been looking at this game with a victory if Joe Flacco was your quarterback, frankly.
No, he'd been sacked a million times.
Also, the other point that I want to make before I go ahead and let this one go, I am very, very happy to see Sauce Gardner get his first pick. I know it wasn't like he made some like crazy play. This was a tip ball that he just caught, but oh my God.
Did he tip it for Michael Carter?
It make me happy to see that guy finally get it. He finally got it.
I don't think he did.
Anyway, Matt, we won. We're 2-2. We don't have a negative record. We don't have a winning record, but we don't have a negative record. Who else is going to talk their garbage? I'm ready to hear it. Side note, the Raiders also won their game too, and that was actually a really good game. I don't know if you saw any of the highlights of that game, but
I didn't see much of that game.
Noteworthy. And a side note, you have a good night.
Thank you, man. Unfortunately, Sauce Gardner, we're still waiting on Sauce. I wanted to double check it. Not trying to throw you under the bus here, but it was Joyner twice, Michael Carter. Sauce Gardner made the tip that went to then Michael Carter, and then the last one was Whitehead. But it's coming. The guy's been playing out of his mind. He deserves the love, so we'll talk about it. He's been everything you could hope for and more. Him and DJ Reed have been arguably the best 1-2 corner duo in the NFL, which is wild, but they've been really, really good. And you're right, man. There's no way the Jets are winning with Joe Flacco in this game. Come on now. Let's be realistic. He would have been sacked 50 times, every time. Zach was really good at escaping the pressure and buying himself some more time. Joe Flacco can't do that. So I'm with you. Good call on bringing that up too. We're going to go out to Joe calling in from Trumbull. There we go. Joe from Trumbull is calling in. He wants to talk about Wilson being the guy in the offensive line.
O'Leary, man. Joe from Trumbull calling back.
Welcome back, baby.
I just want to say, before I get into anything, I appreciate the quote retweet. I was taking the shot to the apple cider V.
Yeah.
I took 2 for Z-Well. And
Electric.
It came out nice. 2 touchdowns at the end, 2 big drives. I just want to talk about that here and get your opinion. Maybe I'm overconfident. Maybe I'm hyping it up. But the way that Zach Wilson drove down the field in those last 2 drives, the classic Jet move would be, we're down 10, we go there, hinder, kick a field goal, kind of hedge on that, come back, and then don't get a defensive stop, or you get one and you have 20 seconds drive down the field, have to throw a Hail Mary, do a lateral, and the Jets look like fools and they lose by 7. But Wilson went down the field twice. He needed 10 points. He got 14. It feels different. I was calling him last year about this after the Texans game, after the Jags game, after the Bucks game. I have so much confidence in him. I have a feeling you do too now. I want to say that first pick, watching it over again, it was really a great play on the corner. Still not an excuse though, but it's also a rust. And that second pick, Connor's got to catch that.
Yep.
Otherwise, I have kind of a hot take, and I want to see what you're thinking about it.
Okay.
I don't think the O-line was really horrific. They weren't as bad in the pass blocking game as they were in the run blocking. Still, it needs to get much better. The fact that Zach was able to do what he did with pretty much revolving doors at all of the O-line positions, I'm just hyped, O'Leary. I'm hyped.
As you should.
Coming back, we're going to get another win against those Fishies. Thanks again for taking my call. Appreciate it. Let's go Jets, man.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it, to get a nice home win? They're allowed to do that. We're allowed to have fun at home. The Jets can win a home football game. Why not? It's not asking too much. I love it. Offensive line, we'll have to see there. But Connor McDermott scares the life out of me. So I'm going to say it one more time in case anyone missed it. Remmers season, baby, at right tackle. Remmers. And shout out AVT for going out and playing at left tackle. Guy could still do it. Constantine's calling. He is calling in from Florida. He wants to talk about, can the Jets be a fourth quarter team? Okay.
Hey, Matt, my man. This is Constantine from Florida. Hey, listen, man. Are we becoming a football team that could come back in the fourth quarter? I love it. I absolutely love it. I think Zach Wilson had a little bit of a rough start, but, man, he showed me a lot in that fourth quarter.
He did.
I'll be honest with you. When they put in the backup quarterback, Pickett, I thought of that time when Baker Mayfield came in for the Cleveland Browns on that Thursday night and gunslinged it all over the field like some kind of a John Wayne type of movie situation. So I was absolutely ecstatic with the way we played in the fourth quarter. We're showing teams that we're not going to give up and give them an easy win. It's not going to be an easy W for other teams anymore when they play the Jets. And one last thing, Matt, and I need your opinion on this.
Okay.
I've always felt that Gang Green is kind of like a weird name for the Jets, mainly because, to me, Gang Green, when I think of it, I think of a flesh-eating disease. So why don't you start a contest with all your callers and maybe have some ideas on changing that name? You and the Jets Council can get together and pick a winner and maybe throw out, I don't know, a hat, a T-shirt to whoever wins, or throw out a couple of prizes. I'll even throw in the first bid I'll say that we should call our boys the Gotham City boys, the GCBs. And once again, Jets, Jets, let's go!
I think the gangrene. I think of the flesh-eating virus. He says that's phenomenal. Gotham City boys. All right, it's a little long. I'm gonna give you gangrene. While you might associate it with a disease, it flows. Gangrene, short, sweet. Gotham City, but too many syllables. That would be my critique, man. We gotta be short and quick. Big Blue, gangrene. G-men. You got a 2-syllable limit. Can't be throwing 3 syllables out there. Come on now. That's too long. That's great. I love this show. Thank you so much, Constantine, for calling in. In the comment section, how about this? Let me know in the comment section what you think the nickname should be. Vinny from Peekskill. What's up, Vinny from Peekskill? He wants to call in and go through some stuff about Zach Wilson and the play calling on the last drive.
Well, hey, Matt. It's Vinny from Peekskill here. Man, it's great to be right. No, I'm just messing with you. But, yeah, no, I knew the Jets were going to win this game. I knew Pittsburgh wasn't a good team. I knew that they were probably just going to come in, kind of underestimate the Jets and not play as good as they probably could have. And I think it shows. Another thing with this game is this game really shows you how much this team really has changed. They never win these games. You got to give tons of props to Zach playing his ass off in the fourth quarter. And you got to give credit to Saleh. That late game management, final drive, exquisite. Then, I guess we got to give, Jeff Ulbrich some love too. Defense played its ass off. I mean, let's be real. Not only can we ask ourselves, when was the last time the Jets had 4 turnovers in a game? When was the last time the Jets had 4 consecutive games with a turnover? That's what I want to know. But, that aside, we're looking at a prime opportunity here. You got a Tua-less Dolphins team. That's prime target to beat. You got a Packers team that's dealing with wide receiver issues that's going to be coming straight from London, so they're going to have some jet lag. And you got a Broncos team that I don't know what's wrong. Something is just wrong with them.
That's 3.
And not to mention a Patriots team probably going to be still playing a third-string quarterback. There's some opportunity here, get a good amount of wins before the bye, and they just got to take care of it. But that's all, and go Jets.
Imagine if the Jets went on a 5-game win streak. I would be absolutely insufferable on the internet if the Jets went out and won 5 straight. Look, that's a very optimistic view of it, but you're right about the winnable game. The Dolphins game is for sure winnable. Going on the road and winning in Lambeau would be huge for this team. I will say they always play the Packers tough, so I'll give them credit there. That would prove, or not necessarily prove, but that'd make me feel really nice about this quarterback and coaching staff if they go out on the road and beat Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So, I mean, Denver's kind of a similar situation. The Jets never play well in Denver. It doesn't matter if they're good or not. Denver looks like atrocious right now. They just lost, unfortunately, Javonte Williams for the season, but they look completely lost right now. And I don't know. And then the Patriots. Can you win your home games against the Patriots and the Dolphins? That's where I'm at. And maybe you steal another one. That'd be tremendous. How about that? Thank you for going through that, Vinny. You got me a little hyped up going through with all those dubs. Daniel, West Virginia. Let's do it.
Hey, Matt. It's Daniel Murphy from West Virginia. I wanted to call in because I was actually at the game yesterday because being from West Virginia, I'm only about 2 hours from Pittsburgh. So
nice.
Obviously, I was going to make that drive to try to make the game. And, I mean, what a game, man. But the first thing I wanted to say is I don't want to hear any Zach Wilson slander.
Not today.
That is our guy. and that's going to be our guy. Like, you could see it yesterday, and I don't know why people were acting like he was having just some terrible game. I think they're just looking at the stat line, and you can't just do that. So, like, the main thing is like, if you watched him, like, he was poised, like, he was confident the whole game. It didn't matter. He had, like, a ridiculous amount of pressures. Like, the guy was running for his life all day and was still making plays to the best of his ability if the receivers weren't dropping it, or, you know, he had a couple passes that were, you know, inaccurate, but you'll have that. Even the best quarterbacks have that from time to time. But, so I just don't understand where this is all coming from. But I think everybody's just looking at the stat lines. But regardless, Zach looked good, especially for it being his first game back.
True.
And I don't know. That's our guy. That's my guy, at least. I don't know how you feel about it, but and then the rest is just like this team. I mean, they're gritty. I mean, Saleh has got this team to where they just don't give up. It doesn't matter. And I think that's a good trait for a team to have, really. You know, I think that's a trait that can get your team far if you are able to get into the playoffs, or if you are in the hunt. Because a gritty team is the type of team that's going to push you beyond that limit and, you know, maybe get you into the playoffs or get you beyond just the wild card round or whatever. Like, you want your team to have grit. So, I don't know. There's just a couple things I wanted to touch on. So, no Zach slander, and let's go Jets.
Let's freaking go. Love it. You're right. You hit on it. It was a gutsy, gritty win. Was it pretty? No, it wasn't necessarily pretty. There was some tough moments, especially getting down early in the game. But yeah, these are just things you love to see. It instills confidence. I feel like a broken record, but I was trying to think of something different to say. But that kind of performance and that kind of comeback instills some confidence in you. It really does. We're going to close out with James in New Jersey with some reaction. All right. Close us out on a high note, James.
Matt, what's going on? James from New Jersey. How's it going, brother?
Good.
Ricardo win. I will take 2-2 in the first 4 games of the season any day of the week compared to what we've seen the last couple of years. I mean, listen, I knew it. I had told everyone since Kenny Pickett got drafted, they're going to find some way. They'll hold him off and keep him off the bench and keep him on the bench until the Jets game. I knew it. I just had my gut feeling. I'm like, Mr. Trubisky's going to suck against us, and Kenny Pickett's going to come in, and we almost freaking won. I knew it. Everyone didn't believe me, but I knew it because that's what happened 4 years ago with Baker Mayfield. The Steelers had a plan. I knew it. All that being said, oh my God, Matt, the Jets won. Oh my God, Matt, the Jets won. Can you believe it? Oh my God. I'm so happy that they won, man. I mean, we still have ways to go, but it's better than what we've seen in the past. I mean, hopefully we're in the right direction, and Zach Wilson had a good comeback. Let's hope he can continue to grow on this and they help lead and elevate this team. Obviously, Rob Saleh said that, you know, the team's going to lift him up, not the other way around. But it seems like this obviously our team is a difference with Zach Wilson on the field. And I'm just going to say this, I'm going to end on this one. Man, throwing bombs and doing the gritty on the Pittsburgh's mom. Let's go, baby. Go Jets, and I hope you get this call, Matt. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
The gritty. That was awesome. The gritty was great. And Justin Jefferson supposedly liked the gritty. I saw him going back and forth on Instagram. That's awesome. It was fun. We're allowed to have fun. It's so much better when Jet fans are out here having fun. It's so much more fun to make content after a Jets win. You guys consume content like crazy after they win. And look, I mean, there's always going to be the diehards. And like, it's crazy because this week, I was able to go full time with this. We talked about it last, week on the show, but now making that jump, it's kind of crazy to think that, it was really the Adam Gase era and the first season under Robert Saleh era where I was making content and getting my audience. And like, can you imagine if this team was actually good? Like, we could, for me, Ryan, Green Bean, everybody, Jets Media, everyone would be feasting. There's enough content for everybody to go around. I love it. I love it. Big game this week against the Miami Dolphins. Jets are an underdog, but I think they're a live dog. I think they can win this game. And yeah, make sure to stay tuned on the channel throughout the week. Wherever you get the show, please make sure to subscribe. Leave a rating and review, really helps out a lot. Share it with a friend. Reminder, Jet Report every Monday to Thursday, 2 p.m. If you want that in audio form, if you're listening to this in audio form, you probably like audio form things. Make sure to subscribe to the Jet Report by Matt O'Leary NY. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time, baby.